Ok, allora, buongiorno a tutti. Questa è la prima intervista che facciamo per questo spazio che vogliamo dedicare a musicisti, liutai e gente che si occupa degli strumenti che sono affini alla lira calabrese e che vogliamo capire anche in altre parti d'Europa o del mondo come vengono interpretati. Quindi adesso iniziamo le nostre interviste con Lassi Logrén, che è un suonatore di jouhikko, che è uno strumento finlandese, una specie di arpa ad arco. Ok. Siccome Lassi parla inglese, quindi io farò un po' da traduttore e cercherò di riportare le cose che ci dice. Quindi iniziamo le prime domande con il percorso che ha fatto Lassi sullo strumento e come è arrivato a suonarlo e cosa sta facendo. So Lassi, I did introduce you to the public, and I would like to start our interview with asking how you came to play this instrument and what are you doing with this instrument right now with your music. So tell us about how you came in touch with this instrument.
Okay, thank you. Well, I was about 12 years old, and I was playing in the folk music group.
Mm-hmm.
It was and it is called Värttinä, and at that time we visited in one luthier. Actually, there were many luthiers in the same buildings, and they introduced us different instruments, mainly folk instruments. They made. It was in Leppävirta, that place, and there were also jouhikko, and so I had the chance to test it. And at that time I played already fiddle. I started to play fiddle when I was maybe 5 or 6 years, and it was quite like I immediately felt that, hey, I really like this instrument and I would love to play this. And then we came back to home, and then I said to my parents that there were this kind of instrument that I would like to have it, and then they agreed and bought it to me. So I started to play it.
Lassi, let me translate because otherwise I lose track of the... Ok,
yes.
Quindi Lassi ci dice che all'età di circa 12 anni faceva parte di un gruppo folk e insieme a questo gruppo, Värttinä si chiamava, o si chiama, they are still alive, this folk group, ok, quindi è un gruppo che esiste ancora, e sono andati a fare una visita in un posto dove c'erano diversi liutai che costruivano o che costruiscono strumenti musicali tradizionali. Fra questi strumenti c'era lo jouhikko, è stato colpito dal suono e quindi quando è tornato a casa ha chiesto ai suoi genitori di comprargliene uno. In quel periodo lui suonava già il violino, quindi aveva già un contatto con la musica. Ok, thank you. So you said you came back home and you asked your parents to buy the jouhikko for you.
Yes, and then they did, and I had this instrument, and then I was playing it and practicing it, and I was using it also the next CD we did with this group, Värttinä. It is called Musta Lindu.
You were 12? Did I understand?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Very young then.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And that the next CD, actually it was LP we made. It's called Musta Lindu. And actually,
can you tell me roughly what year was it?
It was
like end of the 90s?
87.
Okay.
When I, at the very first time, like
you met the instrument. Ok, quindi lui dopo aver avuto questo strumento ha cominciato a suonarlo e l'ha utilizzato per il disco dei Värttinä che si chiamava how was the CD called or the LP?
Okay, the LP is called musta lindu. It's in English the blackbird.
Ah, ok, musta lindu che significa l'uccello nero, blackbird. E niente, quindi da lì è iniziato il percorso con questo strumento. Can I ask you a question? So, did you learn the instrument by yourself, or there were some kind of place where to learn it, or schools or things like that?
At that time, I learned it by myself, and we can talk maybe a little bit later about jouhikko in Finland in general. But at that time, in that area, there were nobody who could play it or teach me. One thing, this name of the LP Musta Lindu, it's also a song or tune that jouhikko player Theodor Pratsu played 105 years ago. So that song is also on that LP.
Ok, Lassi ci dice che in quel disco, appunto, l'uccello nero, Blackbird o Musta Lindu, c'è appunto, il titolo viene da una canzone finlandese che era stata suonata già più di un secolo fa, e quindi da lì ha preso ispirazione. Nel periodo in cui Lassi ha iniziato a suonare lo jouhikko, quindi siamo alla fine degli anni 80-87, non c'era gente che poteva insegnare questo strumento, quindi nel suo caso è stato un percorso che è iniziato, diciamo, quantomeno da un percorso personale.
Vorrei fare una domanda, vorrei capire se, visto proprio perché non c'era un substrato già attivo musicalmente, a che tipo di repertorio ha fatto riferimento? Cioè, che cosa hai iniziato a suonare sullo strumento? A un repertorio tradizionale, popolare, tradizionale, tra virgolette, di cui lui era già a conoscenza, o ha fatto un'esplorazione personale dello strumento?
Okay, so Vincenzo is asking you if when you started playing the instrument, since there was nobody that could teach you directly, how did you manage to find the way to play it? Or, I mean, did you start from traditional tunes, or I don't know, you started just to play the instrument? I mean, how did you approach an instrument that didn't have teacher at that moment, you know?
Yeah, okay. Those luthiers, they knew the instrument because they built it, so they could like show me the way, this is the way. Also, the leader of our folk music group on that time, Sari Kaasinen, she was she knew also the instrument. So in Finland there were some people who played that instrument already, but they were mostly
in other places.
I know, in Helsinki, and so I got some idea from these people.
But then did you listen to recordings to have an idea about the tunes, or no, not really, maybe?
No, then at that time there is one book. It's like jouhikko and kantele tunes from Karelia. That kind of like old, quite thin book about the melodies. Okay. And so there were some. Actually, I knew some of the tunes already at that time when.
So you tried to adapt the tunes that you knew to the new instrument. Let's say like this.
Yeah.
Ok, we'll translate this. Quindi diceva che appunto non essendoci tanti maestri, c'era qualcuno che già suonava lo jouhikko, ma più in altre zone della Finlandia, quindi magari ad Helsinki o in altri posti. Quindi un po' hanno dato delle indicazioni i liutai che fabbricavano questi strumenti, ovviamente. Anche la persona che coordinava questo gruppo folcloristico aveva dato qualche indicazione, e poi c'era qualche pubblicazione che raccoglieva delle melodie tradizionali. Quindi mettendo insieme tutte queste cose qua, lui ha cominciato a suonare lo strumento. Ok, and then, I mean, so that's how you began to play the instrument. Quindi così hai iniziato a suonare, ma come si è sviluppata questa cosa? Adesso gli chiederò So did you go ahead with this, and did you find then the way to other musicians, or I don't know? Tell us how you kept going with this.
Yeah, I was using that instrument with this folk music group, and it was like 2 more years I was using it with this group. Okay, I played fiddle, that was my main instrument with that group, but still with some songs I played that. So then I stepped out of that group and then started a quite long period that I played that mainly by myself, like performing now and then, but it has always been an instrument for me that I have played mainly as a solo, as a hobby by myself. I have really loved to play that instrument. Okay, I have performed also, but as a musician, I have used more fiddle.
Ok, let me say that, please. Quindi lui dice che praticamente questo strumento, lo jouhikko, l'ha usato per molto tempo, sì, ogni tanto registrando, facendo dei concerti, però principalmente come un suo strumento personale, diciamo. Ma appunto, diciamo, per un lungo periodo il suo strumento principale era il violino, per cui nei gruppi suonava il violino, eccetera, eccetera. Dopodiché, quindi questo lo considerava più uno strumento appunto personale, diciamo, non usciva tanto fuori. And then you started to play the jouhikko more in public after this?
Yeah. Well, I meant that compared with the fiddle I have played jouhikko mostly by myself, because as a band instrument, fiddle is like
it's more versatile, maybe.
Yeah, it's like yeah. But then when I started my studies in like professional music studies in Sibelius Academy Helsinki, that was year 95, and there were also some other players who played jouhikko and who has played it, and then it was like one new era somehow.
Ok, quindi lui poi, dopo aver appunto suonato questo strumento un po' per i fatti suoi, ha frequentato ad Helsinki l'Accademia Sibelius, siamo circa a metà degli anni 90 in questo momento, e lì c'erano invece altri musicisti che suonavano questo strumento, e quindi ha ripreso a suonarlo in maniera un po' più seria, fra virgolette, no? So, did you collaborate with those musicians in Helsinki? So, how was the thing?
It was still mainly with the fiddle, but yes, I used this jouhikko in some as a studio musician in some CDs and also with some bands I played like in live. But and then it was 2002 we did full-time CD called Hivuksista jouhikko music from Finland, and I was one of the participants to play jouhikko on that CD. There were like maybe 10 or 15 jouhikko players. We did
it was like a collective.
It was,
quindi fino al 2002 appunto, cioè fra il 95 e il 2002 ha collaborato con questi musicisti, e nel 2002 è uscito questo disco interamente dedicato allo strumento jouhikko, che raccoglieva diversi musicisti finlandesi, più di 10, ed era interamente dedicato a questo strumento. Maybe we can put the links then to these CDs then when we make the article. Ok. Metteremo i link di questi CD poi quando pubblicheremo l'articolo. Ok, then so we are in 2002, and then what are now your current projects? Quindi adesso gli sto chiedendo quali sono i progetti che sta facendo in questo momento, insomma.
Yeah, well, on that same year 2002 I did my Master of Music degree, And after that I have worked as a freelance musician, and the latest thing with jouhikko for me is that I started to do my doctoral studies, and they are in particularly with jouhikko few years ago, three years ago about. And so at the moment I have during the last years, 3-4 years, I have played jouhikko a lot, like more than earlier years.
Okay.
But still mainly alone, and I have done my first doctoral concert. I will have 5 of them total.
5? Okay. 5 instruments playing together, you mean?
No. I during my doctoral studies, I will have 5 concerts. Or one concert could be CD, but anyway, 5 happenings, and I have done now only one.
1 out of 5.
Was, yeah, okay. And that was like a traditional player from music from one player, Feodor Pratsu, from Karelia, the same guy who played this song Musta Lindu with the LP. So this guy I have been like with him like all my jouhikko.
Ok.
Yeah.
Quindi lui sta facendo un dottorato, degli studi dottorali, appunto. Can you so the topic of your doctoral study is jouhikko. That's it.
Yeah. That the short way to say is that yes, I'm using only jouhikko.
Ok, quindi lui si sta occupando esclusivamente di questo strumento, negli ultimi anni lo sta suonando più di prima, e appunto ha in programma una serie di concerti dottorali per dimostrare questo strumento. Quindi appunto sì, adesso how does it work, the doctoral program in Finland? I mean, you are in an academy, okay?
Yeah, it's in the same Sibelius Academy, and they are like, I'm doing like artistic doctoral studies, so it's not scientific.
Okay.
And basically it's as I said, it's including 5 like concerts, and then a written part, which it's quite like free room to write. Quite often it's something about the process of these studies, about the concerts, about the questions the candidate is like researching or thinking and doing some like some new information, new art.
Okay. It's like artistic research.
Yes.
That's I heard about this. So I know. Quindi lui ci sta spiegando che i suoi dottorali che sta facendo sempre ad Helsinki a Sibelius Academy sono una specie di ricerca artistica. Quindi cosa significa? Significa che lui, attraverso suonare lo strumento e utilizzare proprio lo strumento, sta cercando di rispondere ad alcune domande che possono essere delle domande di carattere scientifico. Quindi la ricerca si fa attraverso lo strumento. Questa è una cosa molto interessante che sta prendendo piede in Europa in realtà, perché ci sono anche in Belgio. Io avevo contattato un'accademia che appunto sta promuovendo questo tipo di ricerca. In questo caso sono gli artisti che fanno ricerca. Mi sembra una cosa molto interessante.
Ero interessato a chiedergli se in questo percorso di scoperte, in questo percorso musicale che sta seguendo, si discosta da un repertorio conosciuto, da un repertorio suonato, tra virgolette ereditato tramite scrittura o tradizione orale, quindi se sta abbandonando questo percorso per esplorare nuovi percorsi musicali, quindi togliere, estromettere lo strumento da un uso finora fatto per inserirlo in un contesto tecnico, esecutivo, ma anche sonoro, musicale nuovo, quindi scoperta anche da questo punto di vista. Contesti musicali nuovi, contemporanei o da inventare anche.
Okay. So Vincenzo is asking you if your research that you are doing on the instrument through this doctoral program is about finding new languages for this instrument, or researching all the repertoire? What kind of research are you doing on the instrument?
Yes, that's a good question. I feel that I'm still kind of on the beginning of my journey, so actually I don't know what is the ending result and what will happen, but so far I have started to at first play those traditional material from Karelia, from this one guy, with the instrument, which is a replica model of the instrument he had. So the Luther Rauno Nieminen has actually done his doctoral thesis about how to do research by building instruments. Okay, but that was my first concert. The next one will be...
Okay, let me translate this, please.
Yes.
Just because otherwise I don't keep track of everything.
Of course.
Quindi lui ha iniziato ha iniziato da un po' di tempo a fare questa ricerca, quindi lui dovrà fare 5 concerti, adesso è al primo, quindi siamo ancora nella fase iniziale. E nella prima fase lui sta cercando di suonare delle melodie che sono state tramandate della Karelia, attraverso uno strumento che è una replica esatta dello strumento suonato da uno degli antichi suonatori di jouhikko, che si chiamava... Can you tell me the name of the player that you are...
Yeah. Feodor Pratsu.
Ok, Feodor Pratsu. Quindi lui sta iniziando con l'accostarsi anche allo strumento tradizionale, quindi sta suonando proprio una replica. Questa replica è stata fatta da Rauno Nieminen, che è un altro ricercatore, oltre ad essere un liutaio, e che appunto ha fatto una tesi dottorale sulla ricerca attraverso la costruzione dello strumento. Ok, quindi siamo nelle fasi iniziali, adesso si sta accostando al repertorio proprio pienamente tradizionale. Ok, so this is the first step that you are taking.
Okay. Yes, and one mention more about that,
yes.
That concert, that the subject of that concert was that actually I didn't call it a concert, because one thing was that when I was thinking the life of this Feodor Pratsu, where he lived and what was the circumstances there were no concerts.
That's right.
Concert halls there.
That's right.
There was just like small houses, and actually I started to think about also what is to perform music and what is to practice and what is just to play. And I somehow tried to, with this first, not concert but happening when I was training it, I somehow tried to mix things like training and performing. So I was training in public a lot, in different places, outside, inside, and then when this was happening, I was encouraging people to kind of play a game, try to live their life in that room.
That's quite interesting.
Without being a concert. I said that use your phones, use your mobile.
That's very
when
interesting.
People
Lassi.
dance, lay down and sleep.
Ok. Can I explain this? Ok.
Yes,
è una cosa interessante. Ok. Quindi lui dice che per il primo, tra virgolette, concerto, in realtà non si tratta di un concerto, perché lui ha cercato di capire cosa significava anche in quei contesti musicali eseguire musica, quindi non c'è un vero e proprio concetto di concerto inteso come qualcuno che suona e gli altri che ascoltano, no? Si è anche interrogato su cosa significa esercitarsi sullo strumento, perché ovviamente il concetto di dire io mi esercito per ottenere un risultato è qualcosa che effettivamente appartiene a un mondo musicale che è accademico, quindi ha cercato di unire la performance con l'aspetto della pratica, e quindi costruire così. Quindi nella sua performance ha cercato di ricreare un po' l'atmosfera che poteva essere quella di, appunto, di questo suonatore tradizionale che non si esibiva su un palco, ma si esibiva in contesti di vita. Quindi lui ha chiesto ai suoi spettatori di continuare a vivere la loro vita mentre ascoltavano il concerto. Quindi questo è il concetto di base, diciamo, che lui ha cercato di proporre. Ok, let me say. Quindi Lassi ci stava dicendo della sua prima fase della ricerca e mi ha anticipato che la seconda parte riguarda la musica dell'Estonia. So, can you tell us about the second part of your research about Estonia, I think?
Yes, I can do it pretty shortly. There in Estonia, in the western part of Estonia, there were a Swedish-speaking minority who played like jouhikko type of instruments, like more than 100 years ago. They had mainly, most often 4 strings, and it is called hiukannel or talharppa.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to start with that?
Ok, yes. Ok, quindi la seconda parte della sua ricerca ce la sta anticipando perché è ancora, insomma, in una fase embrionale, però riguarda le minoranze svedesi dell'Estonia che suonavano una specie di jouhikko, di strumento simile. La differenza è che appunto è uno strumento che usa 4 corde anziché 3 ed è costruito in maniera leggermente diversa. Si chiama talharppa I didn't catch the...
Hiukannel talharppa.
Hiukannel talharppa. Ok, yeah. Questo lo dice meglio lui, ovviamente. Ok, that's... Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, and the second concert I will play those traditional melodies from there, and they are, for example, there are quite many like tunes with are like waltzes, like 1 2 3 1 2 3, fast.
Okay.
Kind of.
Waltz. Okay.
Yeah. And one interesting material I will use is that about, I don't remember the year, but 140 years ago, about one there was a like religious movement which like it was spreading on that area, and according this religious movement, this playing this instrument was a sin.
Okay.
And it was like so it was not allowed it anymore according those religious leaders, and unfortunately they burned those instruments, almost like all of them. And then when a folk music researcher Otto Andersson, professor, came to that area later, there were not that many players anymore, but people remembered those songs and they sang those melodies, and Otto Andersson made a notes.
Okay.
And
this was like a beginning of the 20th century. When did it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
let me translate this.
Yes. Yeah.
Quindi dice la seconda parte riguarda le melodie tradizionali di quest'area dell'Estonia che aveva questa minoranza svedese. Ci sono delle danze interessanti come dei valzer, quindi tempo in 3 abbastanza veloce. E poi una storia interessante che è emersa da questa ricerca è che circa 140 anni fa in quell'area si era affermata una setta religiosa che considerava suonare questi strumenti un peccato, quindi praticamente li hanno bruciati tutti quanti, ed è stato solo grazie a Otto Andersson, un ricercatore dell'inizio del Novecento, che queste melodie che venivano cantate dalla popolazione sono state trascritte e quindi salvate, per cui lui lavora su queste melodie trascritte da Andersson. Ok, thanks.
Yes, Yes, and I have this material now with me about those notes, what according Otto Andersson they sang. And I have started to play those melodies again with the talharppa, and somehow I'm trying to imagine how did they play those, because they are not exactly, I think they are not exactly the same when they sang those melodies. So I'm making my wild guesses, like my version
your interpretation
of those melodies. Yes, and that material is big part of my concert.
Ok, quindi il secondo concerto riguarderà queste melodie tradizionali che lui sta analizzando da una notazione, quindi erano state trascritte. Fra l'altro una notazione che è stata scritta in base a quello che la gente cantava, quindi non c'è direttamente una registrazione, fra virgolette, dello strumento, e quindi lui sta cercando, partendo da queste trascrizioni, di interpretare come questo strumento poteva essere suonato all'epoca. Actually, we have something like this in Calabria as well, because there were some melodies tipo Barilli e un'altra, quella di Verterà. Some melodies for the Lira Calabrese that were not recorded, but someone sang them to the researcher. So it's interesting to think how would they play this with the instrument. So we have, it's not the same case, but very similar, I think. Vincenzo was asking me before, so if we can, Vincenzo, vuoi fare quella domanda che avevi prima?
Sì, la mia curiosità è, visto che sta facendo questo percorso di scoperta e di scoperta anche di nuovi linguaggi musicali eventualmente, no? Se lui come musicista avverte la necessità di avere uno strumento più performante, adatto, capace di eseguire e di affrontare questo percorso, ma allo stesso tempo se come musicista legittima l'evoluzione dello strumento. Quindi capire se gli serve, ma se moralmente lo accetta questa evoluzione.
Sì. So, first of all, he would like to know if you are planning on going towards new developments or you want to stick on the tradition. And then in case you, or you did it before or you want to do, about the instrument that you are playing, if you think it's a good thing that the instrument can develop from what it has been before, to play new music or new things on the instrument. So that was the question of Vincenzo.
Yeah, in my doctoral studies, my goal is like do after this Estonian material, probably some material from Norway. Because in Norway there is this Hardangerfele tradition, and I would like to play that Hardangerfele tradition with jouhikko, because there are stylistically like similarities with this old Hardangerfele material. But after that, my plan is to compose a new traditional kind of material. So after played like this traditional material, I would like to, well, that's something I have already done, but still somehow make a new traditional material.
Okay, I see.
Not necessarily really like contemporary stuff.
Okay, I see. I think I heard something that you composed for the jouhikko, and it has a strong link with the traditional music, but still is a new language. What I see, I mean, from my point of view. So, for example, like how you develop melodies is not really probably how they would play in the 18th century. But still you have a strong link with the tradition. But for doing this, do you think you need a different instrument, or you would use the same instrument that came to you from the tradition?
Questo.
Sì, ok, scusami. I have to translate. Sometimes I forget this. Ok, quello che diceva prima è che lui ha in mente di fare una terza parte sulla Norvegia, in cui c'è uno strumento simile. No, non è simile, in realtà si tratta di un violino con le corde simpatiche. Si chiama Hardangerfele, ma ci sono delle similitudini fra il repertorio di questo strumento e il repertorio dello jouhikko. Quindi la terza parte della ricerca sarà appunto su questo repertorio norvegese, e quindi questo repertorio verrà adattato allo strumento finlandese. Dopodiché, l'ultima parte della ricerca sarà comporre una nuova, fra virgolette, musica tradizionale sullo strumento. Quindi adesso la domanda era appunto se per fare questa nuova cosa lui pensa di aver bisogno di uno strumento nuovo oppure diciamo basterebbe, fra virgolette, quello che c'era dalla tradizione. Okay, so the question is now if for the new things that you want to compose, or you have the idea of composing, if the instrument that you are going to use or that you already use because you did something already is the traditional instrument, or there is something that needs to be developed in order to fit this new traditional language. Okay.
Okay. Well, those traditional jouhikko models in the museums, which are made like 300 years ago, 200 years ago, there are quite different ones that people are using nowadays. In those old models, there are no sound post. This, you know, there is no bass bar. This
sì, la catena dei bassi.
Course,
la catena dei bassi.
Yeah, but nowadays it is kind of standard to build those things. And another thing is that in Finland, or in Karelia, it's the eastern part of Finland, partly in Russian, those old models, they are like this whole of my left hand is so small that I can finger only this one string, and it's that small also that I can't move it here at all. So basically those old melodies, there were maximum 6 notes.
Like in the Lira Calabrese, basically.
Yeah,
lo stesso sistema.
6, 7. Yeah, but nowadays people like me, I like the bigger hole, so I can finger also the middle string. I can go up there, have like octave.
Okay.
So the instrument has like the luthiers, they have developed the instrument. And probably I'm not sure if I'm playing my next concert with replica model of museum instrument or with more
like sophisticated models, ok, or modern, ok. Quindi sostanzialmente lui dice che gli strumenti che utilizzano generalmente in Finlandia in questo momento sono già sviluppati e sostanzialmente si tratta di avere un'anima, cosa che non era presente nei primi strumenti, di avere una catena dei bassi che quindi permette sostanzialmente di amplificare la parte, diciamo, più grave dello strumento e anche equilibrare l'anima, immagino. Questo magari lo puoi spiegare più tu. E poi, diciamo, l'apertura, diciamo, che veniva utilizzata negli strumenti tradizionali permetteva di arrivare massimo a una sesta come estensione dello strumento. Invece i nuovi strumenti già permettono comunque di arrivare, penso almeno a... do you arrive to an octave of extension with a new instrument right now, or how is the range of the instrument, like a modern one?
With 3 strings jouhikko, the range is, because it's possible to play also middle string, so the so it's 1.5 octaves.
1.5, ok.
Yeah.
Quindi diciamo si passa dalla sesta di uno strumento tradizionale a circa 1,5 ottave usando uno jouhikko a 3 corde, perché appunto anche la scorda mediana è stata resa suonabile, che altrimenti nei modelli tradizionali era impossibile suonarla per via del fatto che le corde erano troppo strette fra loro.
Fungeva da bordone, come nel caso della lira
Esatto.
o di altri strumenti simili.
Certo. Very close.
Vorrei capire da questo confronto che nasce con gli strumenti presenti nei musei, no?
Mm-hmm.
Se anche a livello di innanzitutto che tipo, no, l'anima non la montava. Vorrei capire se a livello di ponte ci sono stati dei cambiamenti, cioè che tipo di ponte monta ora, se è arcuato o se è piatto, e come negli strumenti presenti nel museo.
Do you have? Did you make change to the bridge as well to be able to play like single strings, or traditionally it was already like that?
It's flat or arched?
It's well,
it's slightly rounded, probably.
Lightly round. I think there are as many bridges than players about. I like that I can play single strings if needed, but also it depends of the melody. Sometimes if I want to play middle string as a single, I change a little bit that point here where the string is leaving, so it's possible to balance them.
Okay.
And also there are some different playing styles. So some people like to play that it's always like maximum amount of strings, like going on. For example, this talharppa. So 4-string instrument playing. Then the bridge could be quite flat, and then it's sometimes not that easy to pick up the melody, like follow the melody, especially if it's on the middle strings going on.
Sure.
So it depends of the player.
But do you know about traditionally the bridges were flat or like round? You don't know exactly?
Well, we have these historical recordings, and for example, this Feodor Pratsus playing, and it's obvious that sometimes he's playing only these 2 strings, and melody is then and sometimes he's playing so it can't be totally flat, it has to be like a little bit round. But the traditional jouhikko playing style was, as far as I know, that the middle string was all the time like played. Played. And then
it's like it's the same.
Yes, and you have only this direction is different. You are playing like here, and we are playing here.
Yes, that's right actually. I will translate. Quindi diceva che praticamente al momento ogni musicista adatta un po' il ponte come meglio crede, nel senso che lui li usa leggermente arcuati, ma anche diciamo agendo sull'altezza delle corde al pirolo riesce a suonare le corde in maniera indipendente. Ovviamente diciamo lo stile tradizionale prevede il bordone, quindi una corda che viene sempre suonata, e quindi i ponticelli tendenzialmente potevano essere piatti, anche se sentendo le registrazioni di questo suonatore che lui sta studiando adesso, di inizio Novecento, sembra che invece il ponte potrebbe essere anche arcuato, perché ci sono dei passaggi in cui lui suona anche corde singole. So it's incredible, I think, to see how this instrument, I mean, Finland and Calabria are very, very far away, but still the conception is almost the same, you know.
Yes.
It seems like there is a common ancestor, I don't know, but
yes,
I mean...
Yes, and it's funny when we and I am like thinking like I would like to know how did they play this instrument in Finland and Karelia, and somehow I now feel that I can just checked YouTube like Lira Calabria players, and there is the answer is there. Okay, that is the way, like dance music. It's that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's incredible anyway, because I mean, sometimes we think, okay, Calabria is more like the southern part of Europe, so we should look more to like North Africa or Greece. Of course, you know, there are very much similarities to this, but also maybe it's the instrument itself that when it has a certain conception, it leads people to play in some way. I don't know if there were ever exchanges between Calabria and Finland. But I mean, as we saw, you know, the instruments are quite close. And of course, you can understand things by seeing people that play the Calabrian lira, how they approach the instrument. Could be useful also for your research or vice versa, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I am... Okay, I will translate what I just said.
Io ho capito, ma...
No, dico, è incredibile pensare come due posti così distanti come la Calabria e la Finlandia, che probabilmente non hanno mai avuto a che fare fra loro. Cioè, è più comodo pensare, o più facile pensare che ci siano stati scambi fra l'Italia e la Grecia, per esempio, fra l'Italia e il Nord Africa, però hanno prodotto delle culture musicali, degli approcci molto simili in realtà.
Io volevo fare un'altra domanda.
Sì.
Per evitare di dire stupidaggini. Le corde, mi interessa la corda. Noi almeno abbiamo usato, negli strumenti che abbiamo ereditato ci sono corde di budello o di fibra di agave per motivi legati alla difficile reperibilità della corda stessa, del budello. Poi negli ultimi anni si utilizza il nylon. Ma loro che tipo di corde utilizzavano e che tipo di corde utilizzano, sempre a livello di possibilità per eseguire i nuovi repertori pure, o i nuovi repertori in chiave tradizionale.
Okay, so Vincenzo is asking you about the strings that you use. Okay, he said we use traditionally either gut strings, or sometimes when gut was not very easily
natural fibers.
Yeah, like it's like a plant that we have in Calabria, which is a kind of cactus, and so they took fiber from this plant and made strings out of this plant, you know. Wow. And so he was asking you what kind of strings do you use in Finland?
Who we use it for the strings and for the bow.
And also for the bow. So the plant was used also for the bow, yes.
How is the sound with that plant?
We should try it actually, because I think no one ever recorded this, because when they did the field recordings they were using already nylon strings.
Okay.
We know that they used gut, and from oral testimony we know that they used also this plant because they didn't find gut at some point.
I am looking for on a very ancient instrument a little piece of these strings, natural strings, with the fiber of this plant we call agave.
It's like a cactus plant. I don't know. I didn't find the translation in English.
Yeah, I don't know in English.
We should try. Anyway, we were talking with Vincenzo some days ago about trying this kind of strings, you know, because I think no one ever tried to make them.
Yeah,
ever since, you know.
Really interesting.
Very interesting. We think the sound was very deep because
also another thing, he explained that probably they tuned the instrument very low because you know the fiber is not very strong.
Yes.
So you have this kind of fiber sound plus the fact that the instrument was played very much low to support, you know, to not to break the strings very easily, you know. So we should try it out, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, in Finland and in Karelia, I think people had, or they were using that string material they could have. So immediately when they could have a metal string, they started to play this.
So with nylon.
When they got like nylon strings, they started to use this. But before they got nylon, they were using horsehair strings, and I am a big fan of horsehair string myself. So I really like that sound. I could say the best, and the way they made those strings, it's pretty simple. They are just twisting the horsehair. Horsehair, and nowadays some jouhikko players are using gut strings, and some are using also like viola strings when they are really like thick. Low tuning.
You mean metal strings?
Metal string.
Okay.
If it's some players are using those. Okay. I have at the moment a like experimental. I am testing these strings, and there are horsehair strings, but there are steamed.
Sì, a vapore, sono cotte a vapore. With hot
steam. So they are twisted, but because of the steam, they are stable.
They stick together.
Yeah. And the positive side of that it seems that they are pretty long-lasting strings. They are not broken easily.
Okay.
And they are like staying proper all the time. So no horsehair is cut it or broken.
Okay.
So the sound is also really stable, but the sound is a little bit more like a distant and clear, and maybe more thin compared with the horsehair, which are like
just twisted,
loosely, just like twisted. But I have here one little bit bigger model, like alto model, and it has to be like thicker strings, and at least with this instrument I think they are working pretty well. These for
the steamed
strings. But it's just personal taste. Also, one material nowadays people are using a lot is like fishing
lines. That's what they use in Calabria, actually.
Yes,
fishing lines.
Fishing lines, and they're doing the strings at the same way than horsehair.
Okay.
Just twisted.
So multiple strings twisted together. You mean multiple lines?
Line.
Okay.
Yes. The amount of those hair is like not exactly the same than horsehair, but it's about the same. Yeah.
Ok, let me translate this.
Yes.
Quindi dice che tradizionalmente si usavano le corde proprio di crine di cavallo che venivano solamente avvolte. Lui ha provato a mettere queste corde arrotolate di crine a vapore, quindi per farle attaccare, e quindi ha ottenuto un suono un po' più stabile e un po' più definito rispetto alle corde tradizionali. Poi dice che comunque in Finlandia si usano diversi tipi di corde, dalle corde di violino, di viola, quindi di metallo, al nylon, e poi qualcuno dice che ha provato a fare delle corde usando il filo da pesca, quindi molto sottile, avvolto come le corde di cavallo.
Ma mi interessa una cosa, vorrei chiedere. Se nell'utilizzare le corde solo di crine, utilizzano anche la pece sulla corda, oppure il crine è lasciato...
When you make horsehair strings, do you use also rosin on them, or you just twist them?
I'm just twisting on them, and then when I start to play, it takes a little time that the rosin is like coming from the bow to the strings, and they are like.
Quindi solo
I'm putting it,
Okay, people, here we are running out of time again. It is very interesting, Lassi. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your.
I think if we don't stop here, we would talk for other 4 hours.
Yeah.
I have only one question, please.
Yeah.
On the strings, you use the same thickness of strings or different thickness? And in traditional use, is the same or not? Non so se la mia domanda è stata chiara, magari
Did you understand?
Yeah, about the thicknesses of the strings, that in traditional way or modern way.
Yes.
Or, yeah.
If you use different gauges on the strings or just the same gauge, like thickness, you know.
Yeah. Well, nowadays people are using different thicknesses because the middle string is that much lower, so it has to be a little bit more thick.
Yes, sure.
But historically, I'm not the one who can now say the truth. I think that people have tested different thicknesses, and probably they got the same situation than me, that if there are lower tuning, it has to be a little bit thicker. But then there are not any standard thicknesses like historically, because people were living in they made their instruments by themselves. They were like professional builders, and so. But once again, I can recommend this Mr. Rauno Nieminen's.
Yeah, I think we should speak with him. Yes.
There are, he has make measurements of all the jouhikkos and talharpas which exists, like museum models, and he knows better about those history stuff.
Okay, I would say that we stop here because there is already a lot of things.
Yes.
What we can do maybe is when if the
Traduci cosa ha detto sulle corde.
Ah, le corde, giusto. No, dice che erano stessa lunghezza, stessa spessore. Però adesso modernamente mettono uno spessore diverso, soprattutto per la corda in mezzo, perché se non si può suonare, c'è troppo. Fra l'altro non hanno neanche due lunghezze, hanno la stessa lunghezza. Quindi questo è. No, what we could do, I was saying, is maybe try to make another meeting like with a direct speaking with when the blog is a bit has more followers. Maybe if you agree, we could do like a public talk, and so maybe get a question from people if things like this. It is very interesting, and thank you very much. Maybe we can talk again sometimes, even like
of course,
informally, you know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is very interesting, and it helps us progress also with our thinking about the Calabrian lira.